My name is John Parker Hammond. I was born on March 14th, 1928. What follows is a record of certain events in which I took part between the years 1980 and 1997 on an island I will call Site B. Site B was not to be a theme park, but a research station. This was where we did the real work. By 1989, International Genetic Technologies had succeeded in their design to genetically recreate the dinosaurs. It was an unprecedented accomplishment, the pinnacle of 20th century science, a work to rank with the achievements of Galileo or Einstein. But it was not all so easy or so simple as it appeared. One seldom hears the true history of such events. What happened at the place where the world changed? How it began? What were the reasons? What was the cost?
Hello and welcome to Geek's Kingdom. I'm Zach, and today I'm going to be playing Trespasser. This first mission I'm going to kind of speed run through. It's mostly kind of like a tutorial type mission, and I've kind of started playing through this first mission and got kind of reacquainted. It's been over a decade since I've actually played this game, so I've played a little bit and I was like, hey, this would be a cool thing to record and throw on my channel. Simply because it's a great game. It's one of my favorite Jurassic Park games by far. I think I'd place it in number 2, simply because Jurassic Park Operation Genesis was such an amazing game. But this is definitely right after JPOG, because it is a very great game. What really makes this game great is the voiceover from Lord Richard Attenborough. That like really gives you the Jurassic Park vibe by having him as a narrator. Without him as a narrator, this game wouldn't be near as great as it is. But it's really cool to kind of explore, at least from memory, the world of Jurassic Park and get a little bit of like extra knowledge, because that's one of the things I always wish there was more of, like an expanded universe with Jurassic Park, because you can tell that there's more going on behind the scenes. Like, especially with Side B, and we see little glimpses of it. Like, Jurassic Park 3 isn't my favorite Jurassic Park movie, but there's some really cool things that I think that show some behind the scenes to the Lost World, to Isla Sorna, like the whole laboratory, like seeing some of those aesthetics and like the designs, and giving a little bit more glimpse of the world of Side B is just really cool in my opinion. And this is just a cool little trip down memory lane. And if you haven't ever played this game, the gameplay mechanics aren't great by any stretch of the imagination. It was kind of cool at the time. I don't know if it was the first game to use physics and the level of interactivity out there, but it was the first one that I played during that time. The game's like easily about like 20 years old now, or close to it, I would say. I didn't look up the exact release date, but it's still a fun game. I played like the first half of mission 1, which is fairly short. So I'm gonna go ahead and start that, and then we will be off to the races, playing through content that I haven't played in over a decade. So it should be interesting. Give us a little glimpse behind the world of the Jurassic Park and into some secrets of Isla Sorna. Of course, I don't think any of this is canon, at least not in respect to the films. But it is kind of cool to see some of the expanded universe, since there isn't much of it out there. There are some comics, there's a couple like junior novels, young adult novels, whatever you want to call them. But there's really not a lot of content. It's just kind of cool to see a story-based game set in the Jurassic Park universe. So let's go ahead and launch us into the game.
You're trying to reach is unavailable. Please leave a message after the tone.
Anne, are you there? It's Jill. Pick up the phone. God, don't tell me your mom was serious. You're in Costa Rica? Visiting the natives, huh? Sun, sand, and adventure? My little Indiana Anne, world traveler extraordinaire. Well, give me a call when you get back, okay? By the way, I thought you hated flying.
Auxilio, este es el vuelo CR-17. Hemos perdido poder en un motor. ¡Estamos cayendo!
The level load times, just from my memory as a much younger kid, is amazing. I remember they used to wait minutes for everything to load around. So the controls, and there's definitely some quirky things about this game. For example, your health is a heart on her breastal area, which is kind of weird, especially if you're, or at least for me when I was a young boy and playing around with my parents, and having to check my chest to see how much health or what my health was at when I was being bit by raptors. But anyways, I digress. The movement system is kind of weird. So I was going, like I was saying, I had started playing through before I decided to record this. W is run forward, S is walk forward, which really trips me up, and it's actually X is back pedal, which that's just crazy tricky.
Foundation, maybe.
But the left trigger, you can move your hand around. Right trigger picks things up and drops things. Then you can hold shift to twist your wrist. So yeah,
it's beautiful
it's just
here.
Crazy.
Must be one of the offshore islands. Cocos, one of the Cinco Muertes, maybe. 8 left.
So I'm not going
Heavier than I
to
thought.
target practice because I've already done all that.
Keep it steady.
Oh, you'll definitely see that when I start encountering raptors, which I don't remember exactly when it happens. I didn't make it that far in this playthrough. I was mainly just making through some of the training areas. Eventually, tooltips stopped coming up, and then
maybe if there's a phone line or a radio,
the real story kind of begins. And I'm going to try not to talk over voiceover simply because that is one of the most amazing parts of this game. And if you don't ever get the chance to play this game, I don't want to ruin your ability to get the story too much. So I probably won't
engine, some kind of wait. International Genetic Technologies. That was the company from the dinosaur trial. After the trial, that old guy, John Hammond, wrote a book. He said it was somewhere in Central America.
My name is John Parker Hammond. I was born on March 14th, 1928.
Oh no. Oh God. This is Site B. This is John Hammond's Lost World.
So apparently they were planning on building a hotel or resort or whatever here. I mean, that definitely didn't look like a workers' village by any stretch of the imagination. Got a wrecked Jeep or transport truck down here. One of the things that's always funny is the amount of crates scattered throughout the landscape. It's these guys, when they were leaving, they must have been leaving in a hurry. There's a rifle up there. Due to the way that like this game aims, I imagine rifles would be pretty hard, so I'm just gonna stick with the. I think this is a shotgun, or it's a maybe it's a rifle. I don't really remember. I didn't shoot that in my playthrough. And I'm not a a big gun guy. The Brachiosaurus. I pretty much saw this, and I want to pause here for a second. I pretty much saw this, and that's when I decided I wanted to record, because like it really made like nostalgia hit me again. Is like, you know, even though the graphics aren't great, and I do think like if you could like retexture this world, like so it's not like a big repeating diagram up there, to put better textures and stuff. I think that's like the models and stuff, like even like the
Brachiosaur, oldest of our recreations by 50 million years. The only true Jurassic native.
Oh man. He really did it. Now that is an incredible smell.
In May the rains came. The smell of the jungle was a ruer.
Alright, so anyways, when that music started playing, that's like when I was like, I should really record this, because I'm sure there's people that haven't had this experience. And like, it just really feels like a Jurassic Park game, like, you know, and like I was saying, with some like modern textures, the models aren't really that bad. Like if you look at the plants, there's still like some games that have been made much more recent that have worse plant models and stuff along those lines. Like if you simply have some, you know, better textures, this game, well, that and the whole physics system, which is something that's quirky and kind of makes the game its own unique little thing. So I wouldn't really change that if I was doing like an overhaul. Like some of the games, there's like a kind of a trend of doing like HD remakes of games, or changes like textures and stuff. And something like that for Trespasser would be really cool. Of course, I don't think DreamWorks would probably be able to do it. I don't know. They might
I knew all along this was a stupid idea. They're probably out drinking right now. Anne? And who?
Alright. We had some creepy music earlier, so I'm betting we're about to see a raptor sometime. There's one of the physics puzzles, or I guess it's kind of a physics puzzle. Uh-oh. I remember this stuff being so terrifying when I was younger.
7. So that's what that feels like.
I have no idea if I'm gonna say. Oh dang. Got him. It's always so creepy, like how they just like kind of laid there like a lizard. Like, I think it's dead. But like sometimes they kind of like do a little like fall. That
The technology, the real trick of it, is still in there. In a darkened room in an empty building with a dirty floor, it waits. The flashpoint, the origin of Jurassic Park. A forest this wild, this unknown, has not been seen by any human since the great hunters of the early Pliocene.
Where's it at? Where's it at? Where's it at? Man, I know I'm probably like looking right past it. Clever girl. It's still gonna like ninja attack me from the back. Oh, there it is. I remember being so much faster when I was younger too. Dang, shotgun's awesome. I didn't.
Velociraptor, a small theropod native to China and Mongolia. Pack hunter, quite vicious and quite intelligent.
This was the place. This used to be just an urban myth.
So I remember as a kid, like the monorail was like really cool to me, and like seeing that in Jurassic World was really awesome. I don't remember like why it was so super cool. Well, as a kid, I really liked trains, but outside of that, I think it was possibly in the book. I could be wrong. I could just be imagining things. It's been a while. I really need to reread Jurassic Park. That's what kind of just triggered that. But it was just it really was something like, I guess maybe it's just because it blended my two of my hobbies as a young kid, like building the model trains, like the ones you could apply like DC power to and make them go around, and like dinosaurs is like super cool. I actually ended up like building a train track at one point that had like my own little mock Jurassic Park, so it was kind of cool. Alright, so guys, that brings us to an end of episode 1. That was the first mission. It was a really short mission. There's not a lot going on. It's mostly tutorial, and I kind of flew past most of the tutorial stuff because I kind of played the first half of that mission. But this mission is all going to be brand new, so stay tuned for episode 2 of Trespasser.